today we have an F45 F46 Extra. Today we're adding Apple CarPlay. I'll guide you through it step by step. Hadi Allah, let's go friends. Originally we have an Evo system here, so let me turn on the screen. Exactly, this is an Evo ID6. You can recognize it by these tiles here, so this is the current view. We're adding Apple CarPlay here, installing an external display. I'll go ahead and turn the whole thing off now, and I'd say let's get started here right away, folks. Down here you've got the flap, which you can simply lever out downwards. I'd say let's start down here with the 220 Torx screws and we'll take them out. Exactly, up here it's just clipped in, quick, and then you've already got the device here ready to go. Here you've got like a totally standard hook fastener. You simply press it in like this, quick, and then the thing pops out effortlessly. Here's the radio. The computer itself, also 22 Torx screws. But I'll start here at the top. Here's the sound belt. These newer cars, they're still fairly tight in that specific area. But that's crazy. You really gotta struggle with it. And with these older models, it's always so easy peasy. Here you really have to put in effort and fight with it, and you don't want to damage anything. So everything's set up nicely. Nice and gentle, that sounds good. Oh my god. Jury. Now. Oh my god. Now I can pull the cable out like this. Now, of course, I still have to remove the cable from the hazard lights and the door opener. Makes total sense. Exactly. The cable comes out like this. It's goddamn easy, of course. And you have another cable here on the right from the ambient lighting original, and then we'll just take this part out here. And then we're actually already there where we exactly want to be. We're at the mounting point of the display screen. The screen is essentially secured by these two small screws here. As expected, they're BMW 220 Torx screws. Slide it in here, out, and then you can easily and carefully lift this screen upwards like this, and it's already out. You can see here are the cables still connected. You pull the cable a bit, not too much, you don't want to break anything. Here you have the plug attached. Here you have this lever. You push the lever down and then wiggle it a bit left, right, and pull it gently to remove it. They go tight. Snap, and you've successfully detached the original screen, fully disassembling and removing it in one swift motion. I'll place this here, cable goes through, now the computer's here. The computer is right here, folks. You can likely figure it out. 220 Torx and Hardy Aller. Computer out now, just pull it out easily. Do me a favor. For the colleagues, make sure to use a cover here for protection. I'll show you that real quick. I'm taking this piece of foil here. It might be a bit oversized, but we really don't want to risk damaging the lever or anything similar. That's why. Exactly. I'll probably manage to pull it out a bit further now. Exactly, there we are. And that should work just fine for us right here. Now you're removing this connector here. You're going in there either by hand like this, or you can simply grab your plastic tool to make the entire process a bit easier and smoother overall. Now you can pull out this cable, specifically the quad lock connector. So we're actually making some really solid progress at this point. We'd now need to unplug the fiber optic cable here. You probably can't see it very well, but it's right there, just below the connector. Here you need to pry up this plastic thing, and then maybe I'll manage to do it without a tool today. Can I do it? I can do it. And then you'll find this double pin connector right here in place. That's the fiber optic cable. You need to repin it, lift it slightly, pull it out, and insert it into the new one. Quick important side note before you guys tune it out again. So we've got here on this connector a specific feature to pay attention to. Audio out output or an audio in input. If you're trying to get sound and nothing's coming through, just pull this out, connect a jack cable here, and plug it into the aux in of your vehicle. That way, you're guaranteed to have sound 1000%. If you're lucky, it'll work just like this. In this case, we've got original Bluetooth, so everything's completely secure, and you don't even need to worry about the aux setup. Now, here's the new version, kind of like the plush stopper, the adapter, which makes it even easier to handle. With this, we go here to the old colleague. Plug it in like this. You can hopefully see it now clearly on the screen. Boom. Boom. Make sure it goes in properly right here. Goes right in. It's properly in. Alright, and now this part gets pried open. That usually takes a bit more effort. Snap. And now you have to pin this cable back in here. First, push this quad lock thing back just a little bit. Alright, and now you've got to pin this back in place here. That means you just push it in until it clicks. So, here, you can hopefully see it. Or you see it up here, you push it in here, click, and it's in. And now this connects directly to your computer over here. You just push it all in here. As you can see, quick snap. Very important. Now move this latch all the way back so it can properly click and lock securely into position here. Because sometimes it works. So this would be a typical source of error if you're having issues, like this latch never being fully open. You push it in and then it never really clicks or locks securely into place properly. And it's definitely not properly in now. It's never really in. I hope you can see that. It's never properly in. Then you definitely need to, there's no need to pry anymore because this thing has to be open. If it's never open, it's never going in. So pull it out again. Put it back in. Now you see it's going in really smoothly. And the final 2 or 5 millimeters. The bracket lifts up and the whole mechanism runs smoothly. So now that's pretty much all done. Here you have this cable bundle. You need to route this up here so that it comes out exactly like the original one does. I'm going to try first though to see if this whole thing actually functions properly. So there would still be an adapter piece here that we'd need to attach at this point. So here, crazy, I've never seen that before. There's basically an adapter piece where the display then attaches. So the display is clearly a good bit larger in size, 10.25 inches, an OSCI. So now we're pulling the cable exactly like the original one. It runs along the left side here, following the same path. So, you see now the cable is coming out here, and now we can plug this in here. So if you're wondering what all these adapters here are for, that's for retrofitting, like a rear view camera. So you really have the option here to retrofit a rear view camera as well. In this case we have an original rear view camera. It's naturally supported as well, so no need to worry about that at all. Okay, well, I'd say then I'll just go ahead and do it like this for now. Okay, crazy. It fits incredibly well. That's awesome. You see, it fits perfectly. There's absolutely nothing to criticize this time. So we're plugging everything in now. First, the longer cable. Boom. I hope you can see that. On the left, it might work. I'll show it like this. Boom. No, the other way around. Go ahead, O-Pro. You gotta know which way it goes. Like this until it doesn't click anymore. Like that. And then comes this guy here. I'll have to take a look. The 2-pin connector is positioned out there, so I hope you can see that clearly now. Plug in this connector. It's really not that hard to insert one. Actually, come on, Mom. Thanks a lot for helping out with that. Until it clicks. Now we can pull the cables back just a little bit further here. And now I'd like to give it a try before I hook everything up here, to see if it all works here. Yes, you can see it's turning on, which is definitely a good sign for now. We'll handle the exact settings in just a moment here. First, always try switching it over. If it switches, then you can be certain everything's working perfectly fine. That's definitely too small. I think it's... let's start here with 1280 by 84, and yeah, that looks absolutely perfect now. Could be. Because now the devices are never connected. That it doesn't work here. But you see, the switching works for now at this point. And with that, we've made it, and we can now dismantle the whole thing. And the settings are then fine adjustments. I'll show you each of them in detail right now, step by step, one by one. Exactly. As mentioned, the errors are there now because, of course, we had everything mapped out here. Makes total sense. So, and now we're pulling everything back a bit here so we can create a somewhat decent cable management setup. Now, of course, we need to figure out a way to fit this display in here. Come on, I can pull it out again here. First, let's try to get this hooked up. The cables didn't quite find their way on their own initially, so just give it a single click, press down on the chips firmly, and now we've got it all set up and ready to go smoothly without any issues. We have it. That means the display as such is installed. So the display is on it. You didn't see it either. Movie recording stopped. It's actually just plugged on here like this. Now it's being screwed in here. And then you basically have it already. I'd say let's do that now as well. Now let's screw in the display with two 20 Torx. So now the display is securely screwed in. Next we'll focus on getting the computer itself properly set up and ready. Here, without any issues getting in, we need to take a look now. That all the cables here never get stuck or anything. That's not coming from up here anymore. Let's take a look. Maybe shift the quad lock connector a bit to the left. We can now go ahead and take this piece away since it's pretty much locked in and secured in place already. Let's see where to plug the quad lock connector. Yes, so the quad lock connector goes down, fits. Now the console goes back on here as the first step. We need to see how it fits with the display. First we'll plug everything back in here. The ambient then. The colleague here. Zach, it's all in there now. Once everything's properly inside, I'll have to check. I think I'll need to remove the display again, or it just won't fit properly. You can see it for yourselves, and it's probably the case. Or can I ventilate this here like this? Can I? Yes, okay. Remove the display a bit more. You see, it's exciting here. I'll take the blended logo off again here because it really triggers me down here right now. You can see that it all fits so far. Everything's perfectly lined up in place. Rough. So then it all gets pushed in here. So once it's pushed in, exactly, make sure to check if it's all in place correctly. Have to shut it all down again here. Quick then. You can put the display back on. I need to do it from the side, otherwise you won't see a thing here. Exactly how it should be. Hey, that fits perfectly. That's awesome. Do you see that? I mean, it's absolutely insane how flush that is. That's already crazy. It's already hitting hard, and now, theoretically, it's just this bezel that's still going to be built in here. Boom. Plugged in. Then it'll get clicked into place up here. And now we can screw the two bolts back in. From down here, and then everything will fit. By the way, if you need to go to the AUX in now, you would obviously have to route an AUX cable down here somewhere. You definitely have to double check that again to make sure it's properly connected. Where you run it neatly, of course. That means I'll go to the menu. Here you have your normal menu. Here you go to CarPlay. Then you decide which Pluto you want to connect to. Connect to the Pluto. Easy, you've got everything. Everything works, exactly. Then you're in CarPlay here. You know it. The CarPlay function, Spotify, Maps. Head over to Maps. Look up any destination here. The nearest gas station, you know the drill. Select one, set up navigation, add it to your route, and pick the best option available. Just standard Apple CarPlay. It also works with Android using Android Auto. It's essentially just the counterpart to Android. Then you have your music right here, completely normal, just as you'd expect it to be. So here you can play your music, and you can download all of the Apple CarPlay compatible apps directly. For example, radio.de, which is essentially internet radio. You also have a lot of other options. There you can install apps with over 100 different options available that are fully compatible with Apple CarPlay here, and the rotary controller works seamlessly, so you can also use WhatsApp. It's of course only voice, so with the voice assistant and all, so you can't read text messages now. As I said, Apple CarPlay is a legal option, so don't forget that. Here you also have settings. You can adjust driving focus, appearance, your background, and customize everything there as needed. You see, the thing runs smoothly. The switching here, it's always running. It keeps doing this whole thing non-stop, you know? But when you go into the apps here, you see bam, zap, bam. It all runs smoothly. If we take a step back now, and long press the menu button, we're in the old system. You can see everything works just fine. If you now connect with Pluto here, you'll of course have sound through Pluto, and just let CarPlay keep running via CarPlay. You can now just go ahead and do your things as usual. My vehicle, reset something, clear any errors, no problem at all. Exactly, if you press and hold, you'll come back here. You can go into CarPlay, have Android Auto, but you can also mirror your screen via AirPlay. Just be aware that you'll likely see screen borders because the resolution usually doesn't match. Alright, now I have here the settings I've already adjusted. I always set the display brightness to the maximum, contrast, etc. You can customize everything the way you want it, tweak it to your preferences, and make it work perfectly for your setup and needs. If you now go into the car settings, reverse settings, it's always a smart move. So you can now select your aftermarket camera here, but it's always a good idea to check to take the original camera, to use the original camera, or also to display your original PTC view. That's the original camera. Exactly, parking line is all for aftermarket cameras. Oh, that's nothing important anymore. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what we should adjust here now. System, language, I'd leave it set to English. Let's go ahead and reboot it. You'll get to see just how quickly this thing starts up. I'll do it now so that these settings, so they get saved, or so we can demonstrate it with the rear camera, making sure it's functioning properly. So you see, you're in cable just like that. If I start the engine now, the engine is running. And now I'm shifting into reverse gear. The original reverse camera works without any issues. Going in here, we also don't see any more errors. Earlier we had the errors because everything here was unplugged. The errors are, of course, I'm not even sure where it is. Vehicle status. Check control. No issues, the errors are of course gone. If I switch here now, long menu button. So we're now in Apple CarPlay, just like I showed you before. So guys, what should I show you now? Apple CarPlay is running. What should I do? The reverse camera works. You can retrofit the reverse camera. PDC works, so that rear view works. I've already shown you. Yeah, there's nothing else, right? Nothing more to show. Nope. Perfect.